Unfortunately, disappearances happen all of the time. And with most of those missing people with loved ones left behind, it can be a rather devastating event. An event that could resolve horrifically, or never resolve at all. One such case was that of Henry McCabe, whose disappearance and the rather disturbing voicemail left behind has left more than his loved ones confused and scared. This episode of Seriously Strange is sponsored by ExpressVPN. They're a really great service that helps to keep your online data safe. Without a virtual private network, your internet browsing data can be tracked by your ISP, your cell provider, ad companies, and hackers. When you use a VPN, however, your public IP address is masked, so even the websites that you frequently visit won't be able to identify you or target you for things you may not want. Among many other uses, ExpressVPN also helps to unblock content that's only available in some countries, allowing you to access more of the things you want to see. And you can head to expressvpn.com/RobDyke for 3 months free with their 1-year package, and they're less than $7 a month when you continue to use them, which makes them incredibly affordable for the critical service that they offer. Just a few of the great things about ExpressVPN are that they're consistently faster than other providers, offer 24/7 support for their customers, and they have an app for every device, whether it's Windows, iOS, Android, Linux, and more. And they have browser extensions for Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, so really it's a good fit for just about everybody. ExpressVPN supports an internet without restrictions, so you can securely stream or download content from anywhere, anytime. With ExpressVPN, your data is your business. ExpressVPN won't track it either. So take back your internet privacy today and stop letting your data and yourself be at risk. Head down into the description below and hit the link to expressvpn.com/RobDyke and join me in feeling a whole lot better about accessing the internet with ExpressVPN. Thanks for listening. Henry McCabe was just shy of turning 32 years old. His birthday was only days away. A man living in Minnesota, Henry liked to go out and have fun from time to time. It was Labor Day, September 7th of 2015, that he decided to go out to a nightclub with 2 friends. After an energetic late night, one of Henry's friends that had accompanied him, named William Kennedy, offered Henry a ride back home. But Henry never made it home, and what followed that night is considered to be a rather chilling string of events. Henry had found love in his life and had 2 loving daughters. He had married a woman named Corrine, who was out in California at the time of Henry's disappearance. Sources claim that Corrine was out there getting things situated for the move they had planned from Mounds View, Minnesota to California. He worked as an auditor for the Minnesota Department of Revenue and had a lot of love for his job, according to the spokesman of the family. However, other sources claim that Henry may have been having trouble at work and received poor reviews. Whether or not that is factual remains hazy at best. The spokesman for Henry's family noted that Henry was a rather outgoing person, that he often remained in open communication with those closest to him. So the fact that he would just suddenly drop off the map was even more suspicious. But on Monday, November 2nd of that year, things took a rather dark turn. A man who was kayaking within a North Metro lake in Minnesota came across a gruesome discovery: a dead body in the water. Police were promptly called and arrived at the scene to pull out the body, and by the next day the body was confirmed to be that of Henry McCabe. With the missing persons case now changing to one involving death, police had to look for a different series of clues that would tell them, with as much accuracy as possible, just what happened to Henry that brought him from a fun night out at a nightclub to floating dead in a lake. Henry's background, from social connections to associations, needed to be combed through thoroughly. This needed to be done in order to determine the bizarre nature surrounding Henry's death. One specific association that seemed to stand out to a number of those who took interest in Henry's case was that of the Coalition for Justice in Liberia.
The leader is trying to help the family make some sense of this recording.
The growls turned to high-pitched moans.
Like he's moaning in pain?
Like moaning in pain.
The Coalition for Justice in Liberia, also known as the CJL, stood to help put an end to all of the devastating byproducts of Liberia's 14-year civil war that occurred in two parts from 1989 to 2003 and claimed around 250,000 lives. According to the CJL, Henry was an activist in the coalition who had survived the entire Civil War before he eventually immigrated to the United States. According to Lavetta Tugbe, the executive director of the CJL, Henry's death could have been linked to the violence in Liberia, and that some other Liberians who also had immigrated to the United States but took a different stance on the Civil War would easily find ways to murder those who they felt have betrayed or done them wrong. They would kill without remorse, Lavetta was quoted as saying, "They've done it now for years. We need to find out what happened." But this was only one idea, and there were more that made this case even more unsettling. William Kennedy, the man who told police that he had dropped Henry off at a Super America gas station upon his request, fell into question when he brought police to the alleged gas station and showed them where he parked, but the gas station surveillance footage didn't match William's story. After this point, William was no longer so sure of which gas station he brought Henry to, but surveillance footage was able to eventually determine that William Kennedy did drop off Henry at a gas station after all, a Holiday gas station that was over 5 minutes away from where he originally claimed he left Henry. Stranger still, one of Henry's other friends who he went out with that night was in possession of his wallet, while William Kennedy had his keys, meaning that even if Henry did make it home, he would have been unable to unlock his own door. But even with these strange circumstances, things became even weirder and more haunting in the form of a voicemail left behind by Henry. On his wife Corinne's phone, Henry's number left a voicemail that was largely undecipherable. It's believed that growls and groans of pain can be heard within the audio, which may be disturbing to some listeners. Just about every public version of the audio has been cut by the news channels that were reporting it, so what you're about to hear isn't the full audio. During the full voicemail, a voice that is believed to be Henry's claims that he's been shot. At the very end of the voicemail, he could be heard shouting, "Stop it," before it ended in what could have been one of the last signs of Henry McCabe while he was alive. You're about to hear the voicemail now. Remember, it may be disturbing to some listeners. Despite all of these suspicious events, police came to a conclusion that shocked many, from those who loved Henry to those who were just following the case. Overall, the police ruled that no one involved with Henry was determined to be a suspect. After this, they even ruled that Henry's death was non-suspicious, largely due to the fact that Henry's body had no signs of a struggle or violence of any kind. His death seemed entirely accidental. Henry's wife, Corrine, has been left perplexed and has often wondered what was happening to Henry during his last voicemail to her, one that still haunts countless people who have listened to it. Initially, one of the associations that was looking into Henry's death offered a $10,000 reward. This was for any information that would lead to a resolution in the case. But according to Minnesota's Star Tribune, the reward was rescinded because of Corrine. The association, known as the Minnesota Community Policing Services, claimed that Henry's wife had been withholding critical information in order to mislead the public and the association.
Minnesota Community Policing Services is a nonprofit agency and acts as a go-between with police and the Liberian community.
Some sources claim that Corrine actually believes her husband is still alive, while she has firmly denied this and continues to search for answers that make any sense in this chilling case. Since Henry's terrible fate, many have speculated what happened to Henry that night exactly. From something beyond human sending Henry to his demise to drug use, which could have caused Henry to frantically panic and end up unfortunately drowning himself. To this very day, nothing is known for sure. If you have any information regarding the fate of Henry McCabe, you are urged to contact the appropriate law enforcement office at 763-717-4070. That's all for now. Remember, you may not believe it, but anything is possible in a world so seriously strange. So be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.